Hello and welcome to my channel. This is the second episode of the Corvette project. So I got the fuel pump in, I got the struts for the rear hatch. We're gonna be tackling those two problems now. Change the struts and change the fuel pump, and hopefully we can get the car started. So let's get to it. All right, so here's the new struts, and they are the newer design where you just slip a flathead screwdriver behind the stab. You pop it out a little bit and you can just slide it on. The ones that are originally on it, I just removed one and I had to break it. That's how it looks like. If it doesn't have a tab or nothing on it, let me get a focus on. All right, here we go. So it doesn't have a tab, but it's supposed to have like a metal bushing, as you can see inside. You push on it with a flathead screwdriver and you can pop it out. Well, that didn't work with me. This is obviously the old design, original one. So I just used a pair of pliers and I kind of snapped it off. All right, so you start by removing the defroster plugs. This one was already ripped with me, but the other four are still good, and you just use a pair of pliers and you slide it out. And I'm gonna remove this one the same way. Make sure you have something that's holding the hatch. I'm just using those vacuum extensions here. And I'm just gonna kind of like pry it off. That's not the right way, but I don't care if it breaks. So just like that, pry it off. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. I probably can reach that tab now on the bottom since it's removed. Here we go. So the original ones have this like rubber bushing here. I would like to reuse it. I think it helps with the absorption, the impact absorption when you close the hatch. So I will move it to the newer ones. It's just something you can slide on and off. There we go, just like that. All right, and you don't need to pry this open when you install it. You just click it on when you install. Only on removal you have to pry it open. There we go. As you guys can see, one is enough to hold the pressure. And that's it for the hatch struts. Yeah. All right, now to move to the fuel pump. All right, so the fuel pump of the Corvette in the C4 is pretty interesting. It's actually where the gas cap is. I've never seen a car like that before, so it's a very interesting design. So first I'm gonna start by, there's a lot of debris here that I don't want it to go inside the gas tank. I'm gonna blow it off, and then you have to remove those two torque screws right here. All right. And now the two torque screws are T15. There's two screws on the front and there's two screws behind the door. Here's the first one out. This one's kind of turning myself right now, so probably a different one. Removing the two on the back. All right, now with all four screws out. Look at that. I'm not surprised, honestly. All right, you move the door to the side. I'm gonna clean this whole area. All right, now it's good enough. It's not perfect, but good enough. All right, now, so there's this rubber cover, this whole black square here. You just have to kind of like maneuver it around, and you just want to move it under this tab right here. So because this is old, it's gonna be a little bit harder to move, but I'm just gonna bend it out slowly and push it out of the way. So if you push down and then move it out, it will be better, easier to remove. All right, that's how it looks like on the bottom. This is the drain hole for the water. It doesn't connect to any drain tube. It was just like that. I'm sure there should be a drain tube connected to it. I'm gonna put the gas cap back on. I don't want anything to drop. All right, so let me show you guys what's going on inside of it. All right, so I see one fuel cable here. It's not leaking. That's from the chemical I sprayed. That's the gas tank. That's the fuel pump connector over here. It's seen better days. Everything here have seen better days. Here's where it connects to the fuel pump. There's this fuel hose. There's two clips on it for some reason instead of one. And here there's this C-clip that's usually the original one. People tend to remove it and use this instead. So I'm gonna start by removing all those three hoses, disconnect the fuel pump, and then start taking out those screws. I think those are 10 millimeter if I'm not mistaken, but I'll check now. All right, I'm gonna get to it. All right, so I changed the camera angle. Hopefully this is better. Those nuts here for the clips are quarter of an inch. So I'm gonna start by loosening them up. And for this C-clip here, I'm gonna try to turn it up facing me so I can be able to remove it. That's not like I can use. Now it's getting 20. There we go. So now to move to the last one. There we go. Yep. I'm gonna put the gas cap back on and now remove the screws. All right, so there are 10 millimeter screws. Make sure you don't drop them in. And I dropped it. All the screws are off. The only thing left now is that connector. So let's see. You have to pry this orange piece open, but there's this kind of like blocking it. It's very old. I want to make sure I don't break anything. Well, if I break it, I can just make a new connector. There we go. All right. Connector doesn't look bad from the inside, just from the outside. It's a 3-pin connector. Once I move it to the bench, I'll test if this fuel pump is already working or not. I never tested it if it's working. I just assumed it's gonna be bad. Alright, let me move the hoses out of the way and pull it out. Oof, yeah, it's definitely bad. Oh my god. Wow. I've never seen a fuel pump that bad in my life. Oh my god, look at all the rust. I'm surprised the gas lever was still working. Oh my god, look at all that dirt. That's from the pickup. Oof. Wow. So I definitely need to drain the gas tank now. I see the filter. Look at. Oh my God. That's a filter. All right, so here it is. So, change of plans. I actually just ordered the pump itself because I assumed that the housing's all gonna be fine because it's just a piece of metal. There's no like moving parts, and I saw the lever working inside the car on the dash, so I just ordered the pump. But after seeing the condition, honestly, I don't want to reuse it. Even if I can get to clean it up and I know the lever is working, but I rather just order a new one, new gasket. I mean, look how disgusting it is. And I'm definitely changing the fuel filter in the car now. It's probably under the car. It's disgusting. I wonder how the fuel rail and the injectors in the car, if that's the condition of the actual pump. Look at that, it's just nasty. So, out of curiosity, I want to see if the actual pump is working. So I'm gonna connect my 12 volt battery to it and see if I can hear it prime or something. Let's try. So here's the negative over here. Here's the positive. And I'm gonna connect it on the battery now. Wow. Fuel pump is still working. Wow. I'm surprised, honestly. After all that, fuel pump is working. Wow, look at all that disgusting gas coming out. Interesting. Right, so since the pump was working, now I'm curious to see if it was actually getting power or not. So I connected the alligator clips to the connector. The connector got 3 wires. The ground pink one is for the fuel lever sensor, and the brown one is a positive. So I connected the positive and negative to my multimeter. And here's the multimeter over here. I have it on the battery load test 12 volt, and here's the key. So now I'm gonna turn on the key and I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get any voltage. All right, as you guys can see, it did get voltage for like 2 or 3 seconds, and that's usually to prime the pump. Let me try to start the car, see if I get anything. Yeah, so when I tried to start, it started pushing all the voltage in. Yeah. All right, so it was definitely a fuel pump issue because it's getting power. It's not a fuse or relay. So I'm gonna wait for the whole assembly to come in, change the fuel pump, maybe the fuel lines, fuel filter, drain the tank, put in new gas, and try to start it. All right, so the new fuel pump assembly came in. I do want to drain all the gas in the tank before I start putting the new gas in and the fuel pump. And especially I did clean the area more when the assembly was out, so I know more stuff went inside the gas tank. So I just want to make sure it's all clean, everything's vacuumed out before I put new gas in. So I still see some debris, so I am gonna spray it with the brake cleaner before I add more fuel and siphon them out. I didn't show you guys that before, but here's the after. I'm gonna try to put the light and get an angle on it if possible. Here, I'll actually drop the light inside the tank. It's empty. Alright, here we go. So that's the tank now. There's still some orange, but I mean, I cleaned it as much as I can. Maybe I can put a rug now and give it like a final wipe down, but it's looking pretty good. And there's no rust inside. It's all like plastic material, so the metal is only on the outside. All right, so the new fuel pump assembly came in. Much different than the one that was on it. Here's the one that was on it for a comparison. So, and yeah, and it was still working, surprisingly. So the only difference I see is the cable. The one that I ordered is a 4-prong connector. The original one is 3. And I saw that on Amazon when I ordered it, but I didn't find a single one that's 3. O'Reilly, AutoZone, all the car parts stores in the area didn't have the assembly at all. So I'm sure Chevy would have had it, but I didn't want to pay arm and leg for it. This was like $80 or $75, so pretty cheap. And it's just a piece of metal with a fuel pump. All the fuel pumps are the same. So I don't care about OEM whenever it comes to this. So what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to swap the connectors if I can. I know this is old and brittle, so I'm gonna do my best not to damage it. But if it does get damaged, I do have a lot of connectors. I can retrofit a new connector on the other side and this side. I did also order a new fuel filter that I'm gonna put on and a new gas cap. I didn't wanna reuse this one. I didn't like the way it looks. Okay. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but those are the wings that you have to pry back open, so when it slides in the connector, it will get stuck on those wings now. So top one is black. Yep, here we go. So the wings are holding on to it. And what I like about this connector, there's this on top of it to make sure that they're not gonna slide out. So it goes black, purple, then gray. And I'm just gonna bend out the wings and connect them back. All right, just like that. Now we click it back and we can reuse this connector now. So it came with a gasket, so let's move to the car and install it back. Actually, before we do that, I did want to test to see if the fuel pump will work if I give it 12-volt battery. All right, it's working. All right, so I did cut the tip of all these hoses because they tend to crack at the tip, but the rest is still good, so I can reuse it. So I'm gonna start by placing the new gasket, and I did clean the area as much as I can. I know it doesn't look great, but that's actually pretty clean compared to how it was before. Now I'm just lining up that new gasket. Here we go, like that. Here's the fuel pump. Now the gasket did move a little bit, so let me make sure the gasket's aligned before I start messing with it, so I can see the hole here and hole here are almost aligned. So. Right, all the bolts are on. Now it's time to slide all the hoses back. So I am gonna spray some WD-40 on the hoses just so they can slide in easily. Alright, so everything's tight, everything's good. I'm gonna put fuel in it now and try to prime the engine. Well, I do wanna change the fuel filter before I prime, but let me fill it up with gas. Alright, now to put the plastic piece back on, the rubber piece. Make sure to maneuver it and take our time with it. And I did find replacements on Amazon for this piece. It's actually not that expensive, but mine is not ripped. It doesn't look like it's bad condition, so maybe it's a little bit stiff, but that's fine. All right, this back. We put the door back in. All right. All right, so we are currently under the passenger side of the car, and this is where the fuel filter is. I jacked the car from next to the passenger front wheel, and here's the fuel filter. So I'm gonna start by spraying it with WD-40 just so I can loosen up those connectors, because I really don't want to strip the gas line right here and end up bending it. So I'm gonna let it soak for a bit. Clean all that debris. There we go. And there's leaves everywhere in this car. Leaves and twigs. The filter itself is 3/4 of an inch. And this one, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna use an adjustable wrench like this one. Pull down on it while pulling up on this. All right, that wasn't bad. It's loose. All right, so I am gonna check for leaks, but not now. Probably when I get it on a lift, get it running, I'll put it on lift and I can check for leaks. I'm not gonna worry about leaks right now. So let's go to the next step. All right, let's see if the fuel pump gonna prime. If we can hear it try to start, let's see what's going on. And I'm curious to see if the fuel lever is still gonna be working, because the old one was working. All right. So the fuel lever is not working. It's showing empty now. Reserve, not empty. Maybe it doesn't have enough to go over reserve. I'm just trying to prime the fuel pump a bit to pressurize the whole system. The only thing I'm thinking of is maybe injectors are dirty. Based on the lines I saw, like even a fuel filter, when I removed it, it had like a black oil came out of them. Why is this insisting on turning on? Yeah, that's the only thing because when I sprayed lighter fluid, it did spit fireballs. So I know there's ignition, but I'm not hearing it igniting at all, not even trying to start or some combustion or something. So it's still acting as if it's not getting fuel, even though I know the fuel pump is working, fuel filter is good. I don't know if the lines are clogged to the fuel rail. That's one thing I still need to test. And I'm not sure about the injectors, if they're working, if they're open, how clean the fuel rail is. Yeah, at least the headlights are working. Nice. I wonder what's going on. I checked the fuel rail. There's like this knob on it where you press and fuel comes out. I pressed it. Clean fuel was coming out. And there's a good pressure. And usually the fuel and rail does get circulated because there's the sending and return line. So I doubt there's something stuck in the fuel rail enough not to start it. Maybe 1 or 2 injectors would be stuck, not all 8 of them. So I wonder what's going on. Maybe something in ignition. It is getting fuel for sure. Maybe I can spray some lighter fluid again, see if I still get any combustion going on. So it is trying to start with starting fluid. Even though it got gas going, it doesn't want to start. But okay, big one. So I disconnected the MAF. Sometimes on older cars that makes a difference. So let's see. All right, so it's still not turning on. When I spray lighter starting fluid, it will try to turn on and spit fireballs, but on injectors with a fuel that's in it, it doesn't want to turn on. The spitting fireballs is worrying me. Maybe it's skipped the timing in it. It's not normal for it to spit fireballs that often. It's okay once when you try to start it with lighter fluid, but not every time. So I do have a compression tester. I'm gonna pull spark plugs from both sides and just see what's the compression on it. Maybe I should have done that in the beginning before I installed the spark plugs, but it's okay. It is what it is. All right, and a compression tool, you just need to hand tighten it. You don't really torque it down or anything. All right, now I'm gonna spin the engine and see what number I get. Okay, so I'm getting 112 psi's and around 8 bars. Okay, let's see cylinder number 3, what we get. Okay, now for cylinder number 3, the one next to number 1. Let's see what we get on this one. All right, so I got no compression on cylinder number 3, which is a very, very bad sign. So I'm gonna keep going just to check the remaining cylinders, and I'm assuming I got 1 but not 3 because the valves, whenever the 1 are open, the 3 is closed. So if it skipped the timing, or if there's anything wrong with the timing, that's how it's gonna be. Half of the engine gonna be good, the other half it's not gonna be good. So I'm gonna keep going and see what I find. All right, now we're doing cylinder number 5. So let's see how this one goes. I already know I'm gonna need a new engine, but just doing this for scientific reasons. Yep. Yeah, it's a bad engine. So I only got 50 psi on cylinder number 5. So on top of the bad compression in the engine, I did see something that I want to show you guys. That's another clear indication that this engine is not a good engine. So here's the oil cap, and I don't know if you can. It's hard to see, but it's looking disgusting on the inside. And when I did like a finger swap of the internals, the rockers and all that, look at that. So the first time I did this, I actually like pulled out a chunk of debris. Yeah, it's a nasty, nasty engine. All right, so this is it for this video. I'm sorry I couldn't get the car started, but as you guys saw, I'm gonna need a new engine for it. Which is fine. The work I did, the fuel pump and all that, doesn't have to do anything with the engine. So even if I end up rebuilding it or swapping it, I still need to do what I did so far in the car, which is the top, cleaning it, and the fuel pump. That's the thing about project cars. Every now and then you will get a car that's need an engine, or the top get fly off the tow truck and break, and you get one of those cars. But I'm not gonna give up on this car. I mean, I can just post it for sale right now, try to get my money back or something, but I do want to see this project through. I do want to drive a C4 Corvette with manual transmission, fully rebuilt and all that, so I'm not gonna give up on it. I just need to see what would be my best course of action now. If I should just do an LS swap on it, if I should keep the L98 engine, just do a rebuild, pull the heads, take it to a machine shop, rebuild the whole engine. So I'm not sure yet. We'll see that in the next video, hopefully. But thank you guys for watching. This project will take a break for a while now, but I still have the BMW project videos coming up real soon. I'm just waiting on that final piece of fairing so I can paint it and get it all together. And the Cougar is getting along pretty nicely as well. So thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.